We are so back. It's been so long. Oh God, it's been so long since I've been in front of a camera. This feels weird again. Hello and welcome back, my beautiful little blob monsters. It's been fucking forever since I have posted anything on here. I hope everyone had a good holiday season, because it seems like I've been gone for 2 months, like through Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's. Things just got busy. That's all. And now that things have kind of calmed back down after the holidays, I do plan to return to my weekly schedule. So hello, I hope you guys have been doing well. I've missed being on here, and I'm extremely excited to talk about this week's movie, because I have been waiting 2 months to talk about this movie. So this is something that I had planned to make a review on like 2 months ago, after the Terrifier little review, if you want to call it a review. It was more of just like a little initial thought kind of video, you know what I mean? Originally, it was just taking me a little bit longer to make the next review because I kind of struggled on what to watch next, and I feel like I'm in a little bit of that spot right now. Like, I don't know what to watch next. By the way, if you're new here and you hear like a whole bunch of background noise, I have a bunch of cats and I don't have any doors in the house. I know you see a door right there. That's a door to the basement. Okay, what's that gonna do? What I mean to say is that my office is in what would traditionally be a dining room, and the cats love going down in the basement, and so they run. This is their path, and just gonna have to deal with it. They live here too. But anyway, at the time I watched 2 movies before going on to the movie that I've actually decided to review, which is The Death Factory Bloodletting. First, I watched something to try and kind of like spice up the type of movie that I was watching, and so I ended up watching a like old black and white horror movie called Eyes Without a Face. It was good. It was good, and I enjoyed it, but I just felt like I didn't have anything of value to say about it. Like, I don't know, I didn't feel like I had any kind of interesting commentary on it. Like, it was a good movie, but I didn't feel like I really had anything to say about it, you know what I mean? And then, so I moved on to a modern piece, and I finally watched X, and I enjoyed it. But let me tell you, it's gonna have to be it's a big project. I think I need to also watch Maxine. I think I just need to discuss that whole trilogy as a whole trilogy. I can't imagine just talking about X on its own. I think I need to talk about all 3 movies in like a big project video. And so what did I do? I ended up just exploring like Tubi's horror category to find something, I don't know, find something that piqued my interest. And I fucking found it, my guy. The trailer of this immediately drew me in, and let me tell you that it ended up not disappointing. I'm sure it's no surprise what I think about this film so far, because I'm sure the title is gonna sing its praises. I don't know what the title is gonna be yet. I'm sure it's gonna be a positive one though, because from the moment I became aware of this film's existence, it brought up my expectations, and by the time I finished watching it, it heightened my expectation. It feels like I have been waiting, I have been longing and desiring for a movie like this to come along. I think this is going to be a defining review for you viewers to know whether or not you have the same taste in movies as I do. Like, this is going to be a defining factor on if you will trust my future reviews. Like, are we on the same wavelength. You know what I mean? Before we get into this, I do want to like give a little spoiler warning, as I do. Now, I try not to ruin the entire movie. I try not to give too many details. However, there will be spoilers as it pertains to like the discussion that I'm having with the film. I am going to have one big spoiler later on. It's arguable whether it's a big spoiler or not, but I'm going to count it as one. And I'll have it time-stamped for you to skip it. Or watch it before watching the rest of this review. I'll make it super easy for you and put the link to it in the description on Tubi TV. I am not sponsored by Tubi at all. Just a big fan of their platform. Sponsor me, pretty please. Okay. That's the little spoiler warning. Let's get into talking about this movie. That was way too peppy. That was way too peppy. Before we get into the prominent moments or prominent aspects of this film that I really want to discuss, let's go over a synopsis. And I'm going to be kind of going over two versions of it. According to the IMDb page, which was written by the director Sean Treta, and it states, online deviants are invited to an abandoned factory to witness a bloodletting, an event displaying the torture and murder of an innocent person. Once inside, they soon realize that they've been lured into a trap by a self-righteous madman who uses the factory and its bloodthirsty inhabitant as his own version of hell. So this madman and the bloodthirsty inhabitant are a brother-sister duo, and bravo to the film for not making them incestuous. The older brother is named Dennis, and he's just like this crazy religious dude who also kind of looks like Jesus. And his younger sister is named, was it Alexis or Alexa? Alexa is just like perfect in every way. And she's like a flesh eater, bloodthirsty fiend. She was mutated this way. In the movie, Dennis does discuss their origins, but I think it seems like the first movie is also just plainly Alexa's origin. I would assume. I have not seen the first movie. It's also on Tubi. But anyway, Alexa's perfect in every single way. She is like every 2000s DeviantArt scene emo girl who loved anime and Silent Hill. Alexa is for those girls. So while this synopsis isn't exactly wrong, it's not wrong. This is what the movie is about. But it's more than just these people being trapped with Alexa, who is killing sinners because her super religious older brother says so. It kind of feels more like the main story that's happening is a revenge plot with this grieving mother who lost her kid because some sicko took her and then videotaped what he did to her and put it on the deep web. And she went on the deep web, found this video, and is now trying to find her daughter's killer to... What do you think she wants to do? What do you think she wants to do to this person? She does have a name. It's Anna Romero. However, every single person has a name, but they go by like a screen name that they use on this website called Gorehouse instead. And for Anna, hers is Massive 9. So because of this, and because everyone just refers to each other as their screen name, I'm only going to be referring to her as Massive 9 or M9 just for short. The guy who has posted the video on Gorehouse, she believes is the guy who made the video, and she finds out that he's going to be at this bloodletting, so she also has to attend. That is like kind of the bigger plot that's happening, and it takes up more of the focus than like Alexa doing anything. There is a whole lot about this movie that I want to talk about, and a lot of it has to do with the stylistic, aesthetic choices that I believe the director himself... Who is in charge of it? Is it like an artistic director? Does the director have any kind of say in the way the movie looks? I've always kind of been curious about that. Anyway, the aesthetic choices for this movie, and just, man, the world and the characters just fit each other so well. They fit each other so well. They really complement each other. Every little detail of this movie feels very thought out, very well established. And I'm just like, I'm mad that more horror movies are not like this. This has a look and a tone that I feel like I have been searching for in a movie for a really long time, and nobody's done it. And these motherfuckers, they did it. They did it. God damn them, they did it. Now, we don't end up seeing a whole lot of the world beyond the factory, but what we do see just feels really fleshed out and consistent, and like this is a real physical place and time. I feel like the main thing that I would call it is very cyber grunge. It has a futuristic feel to it while being like dirty and dingy and like bottom of the barrel. I'm not exactly sure if there's like an exact way to describe how it looks to you. I feel like the best thing for me to do is to just show you examples.
Is the only currency. Flesh for flesh, eye for eye. There are those that do not deserve life. You must take it from them. Blood is the only currency. You must kill. Flesh for flesh.
And then also let me read this list. Dirty, cyber grunge, PlayStation 2, Japanese horror, anime. And here's the thing, I feel like the Japanese horror and anime are especially related to Alexa and how her kills are portrayed. Her design is very PS2 Japanese horror, in my opinion. She looks like something out of like Silent Hill, or she's also very like Fatal Frame coded. Like I don't know, man. Her character design is just perfect in every way. She's very DeviantArt grunge. I can't believe I put those two words together. And then with the anime aspects, I don't even know if it was intentional or not. The way when Alexa kills somebody, it kind of doesn't really show it. It will, but like not super clearly. It's like a flash, and then most of the kill is a pan away to something nearby and blood splattering onto like a wall or a lamp or a toilet. And I feel like that's something that's really common to see in horror anime. I'm not super versed in horror anime, but that does not mean that I have not seen like scenes and know the composure of the scene. Composure? And then see the parallel between those scenes and the death scenes in Death Factory Bloodletting. And also, Alexa moves like the antagonist in Tetsuo Iron Man. Don't know if that was intentional, but I did notice it, and I thought that just leaned even more into the fact that she feels so Japanese horror. And listen, Treda himself has stated that this film does have like some inspiration from Saw and Hostel in its aesthetic, but I'm gonna be so for real with you. His aesthetic is so much better. It's so much better. Like, yeah, I can see the inspirations, especially because of like the yellowy green filters, but like I like this more. I think this looks better than Saw. That's just my honest opinion. That's my honest opinion. I'm fucking obsessed with the way this movie looks. Every teeny tiny little detail in this movie, in every single little scene, it's just like so well put together. And to fucking top it off, dude, the soundtrack. The soundtrack is like the beautiful red ribbon that ties the entire movie together into this masterpiece of just cyber grunge beauty, dude.
People in royalty board and indulge people who are actually victimizing
It's fucking badass. It is badass. tell me otherwise. Watch the movie, tell me otherwise. And the characters fit so perfectly into this, like, dirty, filthy world. Let me introduce you to our cast of online deviants, as the summary has said. So, the first one that we have is White Manson. He is a neo-Nazi. It's kind of said throughout that he is no longer one. However, okay, sure. After White Manson is Black Johnson, who is described as a white slave trader. Basically, he sells white women to foreign countries that want them. Okay. I believe next we have Slutty Baby. Her crime is just being a sex worker. After her is a guy that I'm gonna save for last, actually. Next we just have like a BDSM couple called Hansel and Gretel. They're just into BDSM, and they say that they like to have intercourse where people have died. That's why they are there. And I want to talk about Slutty Baby and Hansel and Gretel. Just really short. They're nothing characters that really don't matter to the story. They're just there to be like the sex part of it, as is mandatory in all horror movies. But I still like low-key loves them for the sole fact that Slutty Baby and Gretel act exactly like they are out of a John Waters movie, like an old school John Waters movie. Like this is Cookie and Mink Stole or something. They don't really add anything to the story at all, but they act like that, and I like that aspect. Then we have Rubber Love, who is the man that Massive 9 is looking for. He is believed to be the guy that killed her daughter, and he's exactly what you think he probably is. Of course, we have Massive 9. She is our vengeful mother. And last but not least, we have Cockmaster, who is an edgy kid on the internet, basically.
But when I do, it's gonna be big.
So that is our merry band of misfits for this movie. I love how, like, gross and depraved each of them are, because it just, like I said, it fits into the world. They fit so well into the world, and the film also does a really good job of displaying just how sick each of these individuals are. It rarely holds back, and there are moments where you hate these guys. You're supposed to hate them, but oh god, they're disgusting.
That dead little girl made me hot too.
Like, they're supposed to be disgusting, depraved people. The film does a very good job of getting that across. And also, all of these characters are so perfectly cast. Like, all of the actors and actresses do a great job in their roles, and all of them look the part of the people that they're supposed to be. I don't know, how would they do that? How did they do that? And of all these characters, obviously it seems as though the focus should be on Dennis and Alexa, the madman and bloodthirsty fiend, but majority of the film kind of is more focused on two other characters who give us the most content, the most plot, the most lines, the most screen time, and even the finale of the film is more focused on these two characters against each other than it ever is on, like, Alexa being a slasher or something. Do you know what I mean? And the two characters are White Manson and Massive 9. These characters and how they're like, I want to say mirrored. I don't think that's the correct term. How they're like put beside each other. I don't know. It's like, I kind of want to go over each of these characters, M9 and Manson. That's what each of them will be shortened to. I kind of want to go over them separately and then a little bit together. So M9, very satisfying, very badass, grieving mother seeking revenge kind of plot. Good character. It's easy to like forget exactly what she's done to be in the position she is in the film. Manson notes several times throughout how she is the biggest traitor in all of Gorehouse.
This little bitch is Massive 9. The biggest traitor in all of Gorehouse. She's the go-to guy for whatever you need. Death porn, rape flicks, snuff, etc., etc., etc. Some of the sickest shit I got from her.
Which means she has a gigantic collection of the depraved stuff that these people get into, and also she continues to like get this content out there and kind of spread it to people that want it, thus kind of just making her, she becomes her enemy, kind of, right? But all in the name of revenge to try and hunt down who killed her daughter. And so then she kind of becomes like this gray area character, in my opinion. She kind of like continued to perpetuate the crime. Do you know what I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like, she continued to spread the crime and other people's trauma for the sake of her own revenge. And I think that's really easy to forget because her character also low-key gives off like cop vibes, and she's not a cop. She's just a grieving mother, who also, by the way, does drugs. It's easy to forget that she's on drugs. Whether that started before or after her daughter's death, we don't know. But she gives off such like cop detective energy, and I think like, especially the very first time I watched this, I thought she was a cop, and she's not. And so because she's kind of become her own enemy, there's this moment between M9 and Manson later on where Manson kind of tries to convince her that they're the same and that they're just as like sick and depraved as each other, with a story from his own past which parallels her. I will discuss it more later on. This is what I consider a possibly big spoiler, so I'll let you know when I'm about to talk about that, because I will in more detail. And so when thinking or just looking at her character in general by herself, it speaks a lot about her character, the depraved lengths that she ended up going to in order to kill her daughter's killer. And I think you can argue for it in a good or bad way how it speaks to her character, but either way, it speaks to her character. She is a hell-bent mother on drugs who has become her enemy in order to destroy her enemy. Now let's talk a little bit about Manson. Manson is a strange character. Why? Because every single time I've watched this film so far, there is like this underlying feeling that Manson has like a spotlight on him as a main character, almost borderline anti-hero. And this is weird and bad and strange because he is a neo-Nazi who, you know, he makes his own content to put on Gorehouse. There are moments in the first half of the film where it just feels like he might be being put in like too positive of a light sometimes. There are a lot of moments in the first half of it that attempt to make him an empathetic or more humanized character. However, this does end up changing, but the first few times I watched it, I thought it was really weird, and I was trying to think of what to make of it, and I think I figured it out, but I'm gonna wait and say it at the end of this section. Because first, we need to go over why and how he becomes somewhat of this like sympathized character. Part of the reason why I think this happens is because of the big spoiler, which I'm now going to discuss. And if you do not want to know it and you want to figure it out on your own, although I feel like it could probably be guessed at this point what it is, still, go to this timestamp if you want to be spoiler free because I just really need to discuss this moment. It feels like a very prominent moment. So after M9 gets revenge and she kills Rubber Love, they have her tied down because now she's like fucking around and about to find out. So Manson is alone with her, kind of asking her why she did it, what her motives were, blah, blah, blah. And she explains her story to him, which we all know by now. And he asks her, like, you know, how did it feel? Did it feel good? Stuff like that. And so he shares a story with her, which parallels her experience. And I believe this is done in an attempt to convince her that they are the same, even though they are not the same. So Manson tells a story about how some, I assume he's talking about Latinos, did a drive-by shooting on his place because he was running with the Aryan Brotherhood. And when they did the drive-by shooting, it struck his partner in the face and she died. And Manson did not immediately seek revenge. He waited. He waited 2 years, and then when the Latino guy, the guy who did it, when his girl got pregnant and gave birth to a boy, Manson then killed the girl and the son. And that was his revenge. And he follows it up again with the, feels good, doesn't it?
He got married and his wife gave birth to a bouncing baby boy. And I killed them. Feels good, doesn't it?
I believe he, again, tells this story as an attempt to show M9 that they are the same, that they are both, like, filthy murderer criminals. But they're not. But they are almost kind of like two sides of the same coin. You know, I think that's what makes their relationship with one another so interesting. Both of them did murder out of revenge, but I feel like one would be considered a good revenge and the other one a not so good revenge. Manson's partner died because of his extremist beliefs, and who knows what he did to the Latinos to cause them to do a drive-by shooting. He conveniently does not mention that part, but his partner died because of his extremist beliefs, and so he goes after the person who killed her by killing his girl and also child. And I believe if it were not within the context of him being a neo-Nazi, then this is a revenge story that people could sympathize with. But, man, your girl died because you're a Nazi. So, and then you go and kill a minority group, which, let's be honest, you probably would have considered killing anyway. M9 is going for revenge because a sicko fuck took her daughter, taped the killing, put it online for sick fucks like... Because we don't know if... I feel like it's a little bit interesting how they put the revenge stories beside each other and how there's like clearly a good revenge and a bad revenge. I like the approach that the film takes to displaying these two characters against each other. As I mentioned earlier, while there's moments that it feels like Manson is being humanized or like trying to be pushed into this anti-hero spotlight, by the end of the film, it does make it very clear how disgusting Manson is. And there's a lot of stuff that I could say towards how they display that Manson is disgusting, which I won't get into now because it's like a big spoiler. Basically, they make it very clear that ultimately what this film cares about is that it is a revenge plot of this mother who is grieving and is gonna stop at nothing to get her revenge. And they do just make it very clear at the end. No matter what kind of grayness it feels like there is in the first half, they make it evident in the finale. And let me tell you that finale I started to get concerned about, and then I was like, ooh, I hope this happens. And it did happen, and it was badass. You should go fucking watch this movie, because I'm not gonna tell you what it was. I hope I was able to get my point on that across fairly clear, because I feel like there is an interesting discussion to be had, and I have been trying to figure it out myself. I feel like I need another person to, like, bounce these discussions off of for me to, like, start getting a more comprehended understanding of what it is I'm trying to say, and then also get ideas off of other people. So if you watch this and you want to partake in a discussion about, like, opinions and thoughts about what I just talked about, please do. I highly encourage it. I'm not going to be mad about talking about this movie more, my guy. I would absolutely fucking love to. Please watch this movie and then come into my comment section and tell me what you fucking think about the dynamic between M9 and Manson, please. So overall, this movie was incredibly unique. Incredibly unique, so different, and just so artistically solid, man. There's not a single thing bad that I really have to say about this movie. Like, even the writing, I feel like, was really decent for something low budget B movie on Tubi that is a sequel of something that nobody's ever heard of. Like, I'm angry that more horror movies do not utilize the same kind of dirty, grungy aesthetic that the Death Factory Bloodletting uses. I need more movies that look like this, please. Just, like, I don't know, a very clear artistic vision. I thought the story was really good. I love a good revenge narrative, and this one is a very badass one. Love that it reminded me of, like, a PS2 game. Love the, like, what feels like Japanese horror inspiration. I really don't have anything bad to say about this movie. So you can probably guess that I'm putting it in A tier. This movie, absolutely, it belongs in A tier. I love it. This is just, this is my taste. This is my taste. This is what I have just tried to look for in a movie for the longest time, and Sean Tretta did it. He did it. And I will forever cherish this movie, and I will forever tell people about it and try and get them to watch it. I love it. It's A tier. Stay mad about it if you don't like it. Stay mad. I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you, my guy. But I'm done with this review. Thank you guys so much for being here. It's so good to be back. I'm very excited to be back. Not only am I doing these weekly reviews, but check out, I am going to start live streaming. I am waiting for a webcam to come in, so I would like to say that my first live stream is going to be the same day that this uploads at 6 p.m. However, if that webcam does not come in, but check out live streams. I'm going to start doing that this year. Along with the weekly movie reviews, I am going to keep up with that. Now that everything is calmed down with the holidays and work, I think I will have a pretty easy time scheduling everything out to be able to do, hopefully. Thank you so much if you stayed until the end of the video. I really appreciate it, especially because it's been so long since I've been here, and this is kind of like a weird niche movie to be reviewing. If you stayed until the very end, put a syringe emoji in the chat in the comments. I do think there's a syringe emoji. Am I wrong? If I'm wrong, I don't know. Just put a knife. Thank you so much for being here. If you ended up liking this video, give it a like. I really appreciate it, and it helps me out a whole lot. If you didn't like the video, give it a dislike. But just know, if you give it a dislike, I'm going to automatically assume that you gave me a dislike because you didn't like my review of Blood and Honey because you like the movie Blood and Honey, and that's your favorite movie, and that's why you're giving me a dislike. Just keep that in mind. And if you liked this video so much that you want to continue hearing me ramble about, like, shitty horror movies, consider subscribing. It would mean a whole lot, and I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the 12 people that are already here. I think it's incredible that you guys have stayed through my 2-month hiatus, I guess. And I really appreciate everyone being here, everyone who watches and gives me like the time of day, because time's really important, and I don't know. I appreciate it. Thank you so, so much. All right, that will do it for this review, my horrible little blobbies. I will see you next week, or I will see you in a live stream tonight. And stay safe out there. Have a good one.
My methods might be a little sadistic, even crazy. I don't know, but I really think that I'm doing a good thing here. So, good night, and go to hell.